Namaskar, welcome to this session, Chapter 4, Working with Lists and Dictionaries, and topic is Working with Lists Part 1, Class 11 IP. What are the learning outcomes? The students will be able to know about lists, learn to create lists, learn how to access elements in a list, learn about list slicing, joining and repeating lists, and also traversing list elements. These are the subtopics. Now, what do you mean by lists? What are lists? We know that list is an ordered sequence of elements of similar type or mixed type. Let's check. It is a data type, an ordered sequence which is mutable and made up of one or more elements. Two important things are here. It is an ordered sequence and elements of a list are modifiable. Now, what are the other ordered sequence? Can you tell me? These are tuples and strings. They both are ordered sequence data type. But what about the dictionary? It is not an ordered sequence, rather we can call a dictionary is an unordered sequence. That means it does not follow any particular ordering like lists or tuples or strings. A list can have elements of different data types such as integer, float, string, tuple, dictionary, or even list. Another list can be a member of a list. Useful for grouping elements of similar or mixed data type. List elements are enclosed in square brackets separated by comma. Now tell me in what situations you think that list is useful. From it is clear that let us think about a situation where we want to keep similar type of elements like marks of student, names of student, date of birth of students, etc., address of students, phone number of students. We prefer list. Generally it is preferred when the elements are of similar type, as lists supports sequential access and also modifications are possible because these data are frequently modifiable in nature, phone number, address, like this. How to create a list? Next, let's check. Syntax is given. List name, identifier name should be there and equal to assignment operator, then within square bracket items separated by commas. Items can be integer, float, string, any. Here I have used some items, different types, for showing that list can take these as elements. And this is the second syntax. Sometimes this can also be used when we want to convert a sequence like list, tuple, string, or even dictionary into a list by using this method known as list. Let's see. We can write in this manner: L equal to list bracket. It is a method, inbuilt method. If we print L, we'll see that this will print empty list. List is used to create, this method is used to create a list from existing sequences. These are the existing sequences. Square bracket signifies what? This is optional. we may give these sequences or we may not give. That is not compulsory, but any one of the sequence we can give. Let's see some examples. This is, I have created an empty list equal to square bracket, no elements are there. It is printing an empty list. Then again I am showing some elements, integer type elements shown, some mixed type elements. Here we see that list contains another list as its elements, another tuple as its items. Similarly, dictionary can be a list items also. When we print a list, it prints like this. First element, second element, it is considered as a third element, it is considered as a fourth element. Let's see some more examples how to create list using this list method from these existing sequences. I have written some codes for that just now. First example, I am showing that L equal to list 1 2 3. What I have given? A list is given inside list method. What it is creating? It is creating a list, returning a list and creating a list. Here I have given a tuple inside this method and it is creating, we clearly see that, a list, not a tuple. It is creating a list. Square bracket signifies it is a list. Here I have given one string KBS-2020. What it is showing? This type of elements. That means a string is fragmented into number of string elements. String is fragmented into number of string elements, and each individual elements of string is a elements of list also. Here a dictionary is used within curly bracket. Dictionary is used for creating a list, but what we have seen that it is taking by default the dictionary keys. Left side elements are known as keys before colon, and right side elements are known as values. By default it is taking dictionary keys, not the values. What if I want to create a list with dictionary values? That means the right side elements 75 85 here. For that I have to use dictionary name or dictionary here dot values. Values is the method values, so it is displaying the dictionary values as a list elements. Similarly, we can use here dictionary dot keys also. By default it is taking, but we can also write dictionary dot keys, another method. Here we can use also keys. These can also be used. Two methods are important for dictionary: keys and values. It is creating a similar thing like this, and by default it is also taking dictionary keys. Now next move on to next topic, accessing list element. How to access input output processing list elements. Let's see. Now we can access a list element using index, similarly like tuples or strings, but not with dictionary. Dictionary maintains separate thing, not index. Actually dictionary maintains keys. That is why it is unordered. No ordering is there. Index of a list element starts from 0. That means it is following a particular type of order, and then it is moving from 0 to 1 and so on and so forth. In backward direction, index starts from -1, then -2, then -3 and so on. Let's see an example. This is the list representation in Python. Here a list contains elements 10 to 100. What it is tells that it is telling that this list is following a particular order, right, starting from 0 to then increased with 1 2 3 like this up to 9, and from backward if we see it is starting from -1 -2 like that up to -10. This is called negative index, this is called positive index. This type of indexes also followed by tuples and strings similarly. Next, some examples for accessing elements in a list. Empty list is there. We are giving the size of the list. By default in this interpreter it is taking size 28 bytes. Now an integer variable in this interpreter is taking 14 bytes. Initially it is taking more size, but it is very important and significant that if we want to process more elements, similar type elements or different type elements, generally here similar type elements are preferred. We see that for these number of elements 1, 2, 3 up to 8, it is taking 60 bytes. If I use variables instead of list for these number of elements, how much bytes it will occupy? 8 into 14, near about 112 bytes. That means occupied more spaces as compared to, more memory as compared to list. This is one of the most important feature of list, that it is taking less space in the memory. Now accessing elements using indexes, we know 0 means first element, it is showing, -1 last element from the reverse, it is showing first from the reverse. Now see ID of list 151038, this like this. Now I have modified one element, it is displaying this second element I have modified, 20 is converted into 111. Then I see that address still remains same. Have you noticed that size of address? Same address. That means whether I am changing the value or items in a list, its address is not changeable. So here again similarly I have again changing a value, computer -2 from the last, it is second element, changing computer, 8 is converted into change into computer. Again I am seeing that still the address of the list is not changed. That means it tells that we can tell that easily that list here acts as a container rather than a variable. We can say a list is a container, it is not like variable. Elements are having some different addresses, but the address, main address of the list is not changeable here. Now one important thing, how we access elements if there is a nested list. That means list contains another list as its member. Here I have written two indexes. First index signifies the index of the main list, and the second index signifies the index of the sublist, that means list within a list. Here 2 means 0, 1, 2, this is considered as 2, and this 0 means first element of this list. 1, if I write 1, second element of the list. If I write 2, third element of this. That means 2 indexes I have to write while displaying nested list elements. Is it clear? Next, list slicing. Slicing means extracting some elements from a list or displaying sublist from a list. Let's see. Slicing operations allow us to create new list by extracting elements from an existing list. List slices are created using indexes. Very important indexing is there, and slicing is used to retrieve a subset of values. What is the syntax for slicing? List, 3 values are there, start, colon, stop, colon, step. It is optional, that is why it is given within square bracket. We may write or we may not write. What is start? It is the starting from, the point from which we want to start. Stop is the ending point, stop point. But important thing is that it is not included while displaying the elements. Before that or excluding that, the elements are displayed. Step is the step size, also known as stride, and it is optional, and the default value of the step is -1. Default value of the step is 1. If you do not give any step value, it will consider it as 1. That means it is jumping from, by each step it is jumping 1 1 1 like that. One example is given, 1 2 4.5a, indexes are 0 1 2 and 3. Now if I write list square bracket 1 colon 3, 1 means second element, starting position is second, start, end position 3, that means stop is 3, 0 1 2 3, this is 3, but it will display before that, not including that stop. So it is showing, that is why it is showing 2 4.5, that means it is showing 1 and 2, second and third element here. This universal rule follows always while list pricing is done. Some more examples. Here I have taken some elements 10 to 90. 1 colon 3, this 1 means this, 3 means 0 1 2 3 this, it is displaying 20 and 30. It is excluding the stop element. 2 colon, start value is given, end is not given, step is not given. That means from start to end, if stop is not given, it will print up to end. That means 2, it will start from this 30 and print up to 90, and automatically it is taking default as 1, that means jump is 1 1 1 like that, next element. Colon 3, it is printing what? Start is not given, it will start from beginning, then up to 3, 0 1 2 3, it is excluding this part, and step is not given, it is taking 1 1 1 as a step, that means it is printing 10 20 30 here. Now I am using here -1 -3, it is printing an empty list. Now you notice that here everything is okay. I wanted to print this and this element -1 -2 like that, but step is not given here. That means by default step is 1, it is not automatically understood by the Python interpreter that step will be -1 by seeing only this. That is why it is printing nothing, it is printing empty list. It is not error, it is empty list. Now correction is that I am mentioning step here -1, that means I am telling the Python interpreter that I want to go in reverse direction, and with step 1 jump, -1 and -2 elements are print, -1 first, then -2, 90 and 80, this will not be printed, -3 elements will not be printed. As per rule, it is excluded. Now see L -1 colon, from reverse it is clear, but endpoint is up to this, it wants to print, but no step is there, so it is not understanding anything. It will print only this element, that is -1. It is not showing error also. What if I give -1, endpoint is not there, stop is not there, but jump is there? Now it is clear to list that starting point is 90, reverse order it want to print in reverse order, and this endpoint is not there, that means from the reverse direction it starts from here and print up to 10. That is why it is printing this. Similarly, we can use by omitting the start and stop value, by only giving the step value. It indicates that from the reverse list is going to be printed and up to the end point, stop point, that is the first element. That is why it is printing 90 to 10. Here normal printing is there, starting from the third element 0 1 2 and up to 4, that means 2 3 4, 2 3 4, but jump is again jump is 2 here, that means it will print alternate elements. That is first element is 30, then it is printing 50. Jump is 2, not 1, so one element it will skip, and it is printing 30 50. Move on to next. These are rules for slicing. Whatever I have discussed, this is the rule. If start value is missing, start from the first element to 0th index. If stop value is missing, it will print till the end. If neither start nor stop is given, it will print from start to end or from end to start. If step is -1, similar like there, here step is -1 here. no start, no end is there, step is -1. If I do not give anything, only colon colon, it will print from start to last. By default step it is taking 1. That is the first. By default step is 1, but for different jump it must be specified. That means here we have to, other than 1, everything should be mentioned as step, otherwise it is not recognizable. Now can you tell me what will be the result of L1 colon 1 or L1 colon 0 here? If I start from 1 0 1 second and I am giving the stop value is 1 also, that means the same element. I am starting from this, I mean giving ending value as this. By default step is 1. What will be printed? Can you guess? Similarly, if I give 1 starting point, start value, and 0 is the end value or stop value, before that what it will print? Whether it will show error or some value, let's check with some code. I am giving 1 2 3 simple. I am printing 1 colon 1. It will not show error, it will print nothing. Similarly, if I use this, it is again not understanding. The start point is clear but end point is not clear, that is why it is printing again empty. Similarly for this also, if I am using -1 colon -1 reverse, sorry, it is printing like this, or -1 colon 0, again end point is not clear, reverse is not clear, again printing is again printing what? Empty list. So these are the rules to be followed while explaining or while displaying list slicing. Joining and repeating list. Concatenation operator is used to join two lists. Concatenation operator. If two lists are there, sidewise joining is there. First list, then second list. If I will write L2 plus L1, the elements of first, second list will be displayed 10, 20, 30. Then elements of first list will be displayed 1, 2, 3, reverse order. That means it is just one type of joining operation, not actually calculating operation. No other number or value can be added to a list using plus operator. If I use plus operator here, I want to add some numeric value or string value, it will show type error because it can't recognize that operator with numeric value. That is, it is showing error. You cannot add elements like this. But star operator is used to replicate the list specified number of times. If I defined a list and I am writing list star 3, it will repeat this list 3 times. Similarly, we have seen also in strings, that means 4 5 6 4 5 6 4 5 6. That means this operator is useful here for replication, but other no arithmetic operator is applicable with lists. Traversing a list means accessing each element of the list from moving one point to another. Two methods are used, for loop and while loop. Loops are very important here. For traversing a list, we have to use for or while loop. Now, I have defined one list, subject, name of the list is subject, some elements are there, subject names, maths, physics, chemistry, IP, English. Elements are indexed at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I am printing all the elements. I am writing for item in sub. That means item is picking one by one element from the list. First time item is maths, then it is physics, then it is chemistry, then it is English, then for loops ends, and by this way it is printing math, physics, chemistry, IP, English. We can display these elements in another method. Let's see, using range accessing using range and len functions. Here the list is same. I'm using len of sub and range function. Range function is taking what? Len of sub is what? 5. Range 5 returns what? 0, 1, starting from 0. Since no value is given, by default value is 0 for range. 0, 1 and 1 less than the final value. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means I is taking values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here I am printing the list using list index, not the list items earlier. Sub of I, that means sub of 0, sub of 1, sub of 2, like that. And it is also displaying list elements. Let's see a program. I have used that similar code but some modifications. Here I am printing list elements using the index. I am printing the index and elements of the list in first case by using index method, and in second I am printing the index of the list and elements using indexes of the list, and in the third method I am printing the reverse index along with the elements of the list. Is it clear? In the first method I am using index method for printing index of the list 0, 1, 2, like that, and I is taking each time the items of the list. Here I is taking the index from 0 to len sub -1, and sub of I, it is printing elements using index in forward direction. And here in traversal, reverse traversal, I am printing all the list elements along with reverse indexes. Let's see by executing the program what is displaying. Now what it is displaying, it is the execution part. It is, let's see, in this first part the list elements are printed along with indexes. The method used here, index. In the second part, same thing is done but without using any method, and list elements are printed using list index. Here it is printing is done using items. I is taking each time one by one item. Indexing is printing through this. Here indexing is printing through I, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and elements are printed using list indexes. In this method, reverse traversal, from the reverse the elements are printed here, and also the indexes are printed from the reverse, like -1, -2 and -3, so on and so forth. So this basically traversal in a list in forward direction and in backward direction. Let's see the next slide. Using while loop we can also do traversal. Same list is taken, 5 elements are there. We have to start from 0 if we want to print elements from the starting. We will take I as 0. Here comparison is done. 0 is less than 5, that means up to 4 this loop will run, and it is printing elements also using list index, and each time I is incremented with 1. I is equal to I plus 1, that means for I 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 elements are printed using list index, and these outputs are produced. It is equivalent to this code. This code using for and while both are equivalent. Sometimes question may ask, convert for loop to equivalent while loop or vice versa. In that case you should know that here I is taking automatic the range values with the help of range from 0 to length minus 1, but here we have to give explicitly 0 and then we have to increment with 1. Similarly, if you want to do reverse, minus 1, and I should take the value length minus 1, like that. Some assignments to solve. If you have listened the session carefully and go through the contents, you can easily solve. Some questions are there, important questions. Difference between this and this, equivalent to this. A star 3 means repetition, replication, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and A plus A means list, can be added with list. It is also giving 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Now difference between this and this, meaning similarity and difference between list and strings. Reverse a list of integers. In place means permanent change. That means if the elements are 1 2 3, the program should change elements like 3 to 1 permanently, and then the elements should be printed. List elements are there, some operations are performed. What will be the output? You have to tell after slicing. This is the slicing question. Some code is given, you have to write the output on the basis of logic, and you should explain also the output. Thank you.